Good evening. Technology won't finish us. Technology won't finish us. Technology just has a way of showing you who is boss, and that's the truth. It just has a way of showing you that see it's garbage in, garbage out. Who is boss? And when you decide to do all these life things, whatever you take, you ultimately, or rather, whatever you see, you take, if I can put it that way. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're back once again. We had some technical difficulties, and I said, no, I'll still do it live because I don't know how, or I don't know the gameplay for anything. So, welcome once again. Let me just change from my reading glasses to sight glasses. Good. So you can see I stand on no ceremony. Gorgeous ladies, as I like to call you, welcome once again. So today is our previous one. So straight to the matter for the day. So today is brain dumping to declutter the mind. And like one of the reasons I said I just want to just put it out here right now and not record it and put after it because today's session is going to be highly interactive. And like I was reminding us, I said the woman call you were not aware of it. It's just a simple platform, not faith-based at all, where we hope to inspire change, but not before we grow personally. So we hope to inspire change through personal growth. And we've been talking about the need to declutter our minds, in the past couple of days. And I can remember one of the first things I said when I gave us reasons why we need to declutter our minds was because not only do we need to gain clarity, we need to distress ourselves. And like I like how people, this brain is not supposed to be a hard drive because so many of us, that's actually how we work our brains. We think our brain is a hard drive. Our brain is not a hard drive. You know what the purpose is or what a hard drive is used for? Just stores information, and God forbid crashes. It's your problem, not the problem of your hard drive, because you know what they say about computers: garbage in, garbage out. So, what our brains are essentially meant for, and I want a gorgeous woman out there to take note of that today. Our brain, the things, if you look at stress, one of the things you are told or you understand when you say, oh, I'm stressed, it's the thoughts. You're suffering thought overload. You've allowed your brain, your mind to function as a hard drive to retain information, to retain information that you're not processing, you're not might be good for you in the long run, might be of service to you, but if you don't process and act, it just remains there. And before you know it, you're stressed out. That's why you hear a woman say, "Oh, I'm stressed, I'm stressed, I'm stressed." In the flyer I used, because I used the flyer earlier today to, I put a flyer up, and I said, do we understand that one of the major steps for decluttering, because if we need to do what we need to do to declutter, one of the things I said to us yesterday is, let's stop throwing a pity party. Let's stop throwing a pity party. And one of the major kind of pity parties a woman can throw is, this thing of something happens to you and you start remembering, if it was I was, when I used to be, when I was this man, if it was the time we met, oh, these people, is it because I'm working with them? If they knew me, there's somebody who said to me years ago, I remember, I don't want to call her name here, she said, um, I've been getting more stressed and overstressed. Most of them, all they do is thinking so much of the past, thinking so much of the past, then jamming it with the worry of today. Remember, I said something yesterday. I said, even the word of God tells us that sufficient is the trouble of today, that you start adding the trouble of tomorrow to it. So today, with our discussion of how to use brain dumping, I remember on the first day, when I was saying why we need to declutter, one of the ways I talked about decluttering was brain dump. And I know I just explained it briefly, and some, now, in the comment called you page here on Facebook asked me, why don't you throw some more light on what brain dumping is? You know, part one and part two on ways on how to declutter your mind. The first day, I talked about the emotional components. One day I played around with, you know, basic physical things and things that are not necessarily tangible, things you can't necessarily take hold of. So today we'll be doing and handling a sorry about that. The trusted router now played up again. And we're not to worry, I'll be doing like a full recap of day four on the page, maybe sometime during the week. But let me just quickly continue, you know. I'm sure we're still live. I'm not sure, but let me just imagine that we're still live. Yes. So I said I was gonna do brain dumping as a technique in, I'll do it in a much broader perspective because I didn't do it that day. That day I just skirted around it and all that. So Guys, first and foremost, if you're watching, I'll just like you to get your paper, ready. I like you to do that. Just get your paper ready, ready. Yep. And after you see when it goes up, get as we should. So good, we're back, and I hope it stays this time. Yeah, I should think so. My light is somewhat dull. Let me try to give myself brighter light. That's the thing when you surround yourself with too many gizmos, you can ultimately get confused yourself. Okay, okay. So that's better. So let's continue. So, like I said, get yourself pen and paper. We have come to school today. Remember what I said earlier on before the thing went out? I said one of the things that disturb or bother women, one of the things that will always be in our mind, that will clutter up our mind, is when, for most, you continuously host a pity party in your head, mourning the woman you used to be. Oh, if they knew me when I was rich, if they knew me when I was this, if they knew me when I was that. And this kind of thoughts can constantly weigh you down. Half the time when you see women stressed out, all kinds of things, is just because of thoughts. I said it earlier, your brain is not a hard drive. It's not meant to just contain information. That's what a hard drive does. A hard drive just keeps storing. That's why you see people, when they want to just store information, it's just the capacity of the hard drive, but it just stores information. It's not like a CPU, it's not like a central processing unit that processes. Our brain is supposed to be a processing center. But when you don't process and all you do is just keep storing things, one day the brain will break down. The brain will break down. They will tell you men don't worry as much as women do because they just let it all out. They go have recreation or something. But gorgeous ladies, most of the time we worry so much, especially of about what should have been, what was and is not anymore. Stop mourning the woman you once were and determine to become the best version of yourself. And you start that by decluttering your mind. So, quick one, what is a brain dump? Like I said, get your pen and paper. What is a brain dump? Have you thought about it? Remember, I talked about it in the first episode on day one. When you put all kinds of things in your mind is running away. Some of us, our minds are running kitty, kitty, kitty. You know that song that is raining now? That is how our minds run. Oh, children, this, man, money, market, bank account, oh, health, all kinds of things. And our minds are cluttered. And like I talked about something yesterday, you think you're multitasking. Meanwhile, all you're doing is task switching. And before you know it, you are worn out and you are tired. So today, talking about the brain dump, what the brain dump is you simply dumping all the contents of your mind, bringing it out. You know how this um dustbin vehicles, refuse vehicles carry refuse. It doesn't matter what kind of refuse it is. Once it gets to the place of offloading it, it must offload all the refuse into the refuse dump. So what you have in your hands is the refuse dump. And today you are going to offload everything you have in your mind into this refuse dump. You might choose to use, like I said, your phone. You can choose to use any kind of device, but know this as we are beginning this brain dump. It is a personal, read my lips, it is a personal activity. It's not for you to sit with your husband to do or with your significant partner to do. No, 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 no. That's the mistake most of us make. We want to do everything with the next person. This is a personal exercise. It is not something you share. Pata pata, it is only you and the Holy Spirit that will know what you dumped in this sheet of paper, onto this sheet of paper that is like the refuse dump that we are dealing with today. And before we go ahead, I want us to understand something. Before I even begin to tell us what to do, know that this thing you are doing, it depends on you, on how often you will want to do it. So the thing that will qualify you, the things that should pre-qualify you, so to speak, the prerequisite for picking up this paper, as I'm showing you today, to do a brain dump can be either of these things. And one of the advice I'll give you is that it's good to do a brain dump whenever you are feeling overwhelmed. Most women think, I like to call it egbeweja. You're so powerful, you're so together. Even the most put together woman has times when she's feeling very, very, very overwhelmed. And that is one of the times that it would be advisable to do a brain dump. I'm telling you. Because sometimes it's as if your mind, you are drowning. I don't know if anybody can identify with it. There's so much in your mind. You seem to be drowning under the weight of tasks. Sometimes when you hit the bed at night, when you hit the sack, when you shut your eyes, you don't just go to sleep. My friend was telling me of how her husband, no matter how worried he is, once his head hits the pillow, bam, he has gone. But for most of us gorgeous women, we will think of this, we will think of that, we will think of this, we will think of that. You wake up in the morning, you're not even feeling as if you slept. So that's one of the times you need to do a brain dump. When you are overwhelmed, when it is obvious that you are stressed, you are drowning in your own thoughts. That's when they say all you do is have wandering thoughts. You are here, but you're not present. I don't know if this is resonating with somebody. Another time you can do a brain dump to declutter your mind is when you need to fix a problem. There's a problem that bothers you. Instead of sitting about it and thinking, and you do this. As most of us will do. Just, you see this thing? Carry this up. See this pen? I'm coming. I'll tell you how you are going to do it. So like I said, the best time to do it when you're overwhelmed, when you're feeling stressed, when it's as if you are drowning in the thoughts in your mind. When you're feeling as if you're stuck with one problem or the other that you cannot deal with. Then another time you must do a brain dump when you find it hard to sleep at night. To tell you the truth, nobody just stays and suffers insomnia. No. There is an underlying reason. If it's not a health reason, It is a mental reason that will make you that dopamine that is supposed to be released, that comes like a natural sleep relaxant, to make you shut your eyes and sleep and go deep into REM sleep. Go beyond REM sleep. I'm sorry. Because some people they just do that surface sleep where rapid eye movement. You are sleeping, but your eyes still moving. When somebody touches something, bam, you wake up. When you find it hard to sleep, it is not a witch pursuing you. Your brain has become a hard drive. You have overstored things that you need to process out. And the brain dump is one of the ways you will process. So if you're that person, you can't sleep at night. You bring out this thing. You must do this thing before you sleep. And one of the things, I always like to tell people in such instances, don't be quick to reach for something that will make you sleep. Like so many of us, honestly, we will just take 1 or 2 tablets of something that will just make us drift away to sleep. But even if you do it, I tell you, it will just be a vicious cycle, because by the next time, my gorgeous lady, you still won't be able to sleep, because your mind, the hard drive that either, should I say, you did it knowingly or unknowingly. The Bible talk about sins of omission and commission. Whether it was by mistake your mind got this overload, or you did it willfully, if it is not dumped, you would have a problem. And the benefit of this brain dump, I talked about it on the first day one, when I was talking about it being one of the techniques that anybody, any well-meaning person should, employ in order to declutter their minds. I said one of the things it does, this brain dump, I'm going to take you through in the next couple of minutes. One of the things it does, it helps to reduce stress drastically. It helps to reduce any kind of stress in your life drastically. I'm telling you. Some people will say, when they have like sexual tension or something, they go take a cold shower and everything. This brain dump is the equivalent of a cold shower for your brain, for your mind. Number 2, I said it that day, it will create, a level of clarity. And that's when they say, people talk about it creates mindfulness. Because when you clear your brain, your mind will get clearer. Especially when you clear your mind of past events. Remember when I started at the beginning, I was talking about a woman who is throwing a pity party by mourning who she used to be. If you're in that category, a brain dump will help you. Another thing it does, it helps you to organize your thoughts. I'm telling you. Because whether we like it or not, when thoughts are locked up in our heads, you can't make any sense of any situation. Any woman who has gone through depression would understand this, will definitely just, kind of identify with what I'm saying. Because if ideas and thoughts are locked up in your head, it is like a pressure cooker boiling. If you don't deal with it, if you don't do something about it, it will soon escalate. And the funny thing is that when it escalates, it can affect your health, it can affect your general well-being, it can affect your associations, your relationships with people. And like I said the other day, I said one of the things it will do for you, it will help you focus. Because when you have brain dumped, your mind is no longer responsible for all your worries, your ideas, your plans. Your mind is no longer responsible, because now you have brain dumped into that refuse dump. All those random thoughts that will usually plague your mind, you have been able to put them in perspective. Have you noticed when they say a problem shared is a problem halved? This one, you're not sharing the problem with anybody. You are laying down the problems in black and white. It's almost like the Bible saying, put the vision down upon the tablets. What you are writing now, you are brain dumping. I don't want to run ahead of myself. Then one other thing it will do for you, it will provide perspective. I talked about it that day. You know, when things are in your head, you are thinking, they seem much more difficult than when you actually have it laid out. This my paper is kind of distracting me. I'm coming to the paper. When you actually have it laid out, you understand? So, excuse me. By the time you brain dump, you will notice that things begin to come into perspective. They're coming into perspective. That thing you thought was so difficult, it seemed unattainable. It's like, God, what is this? This thing I've been worrying about. It will seem inconsequential at the end of the day. Like I said on day one, I said, I'm not coming here to speak head knowledge. I'm coming here to say what is attainable. I mean, by the time you start gaining perspective, I mentioned it yesterday, you'll be able to prioritize your life, prioritize the things in your life. And I don't know anybody who has ever said, I remember this bank's advert I saw, I think it was Union Bank, and they said, nobody has ever said, I miss queuing in banking halls. So when you're able to brain dump, I don't think anybody or you would ever have reason to say, I missed the time I was thinking too much. I hope you're getting my drift. Because the need to brain dump is the fact that when you are done with it, you won't still be going back and say, in those days when I used to think so much, you are going to go over that bridge. So nobody has ever missed having too many problems. But right now, where you have too many things running around your mind, going around your mind is going kitty kata, kitty kata, kitty kitty. That song, I mentioned it earlier. You need to do something immediately, because the more the thoughts accumulate in your head, you begin to feel as if you are a fire brigade person. I must do this. It's like I talked yesterday about overcommitting. You now begin to feel, I must do this, I must do this, I must do this, I must do this. But by the time you brain dump, you are giving yourself permission, my sister. You're giving yourself permission to be able to say, you see this one, I'm not going to worry about it. You see this one, let me leave it till some other time. You see this one, I'm not going to feel pressured. I don't know if anybody's getting what I'm saying. Because when you just leave things in your mind, some women think they're super women. Say, I have it all up here. That is what is, I don't want to use the word killing. That is what is destroying your mental state. So we're going to start quickly. Pick up your, let me even check if there's anybody online. Because like I said, I'm in a studio. So pick up your pen and paper and we're going to start. So pen. So I have some sheets of paper. I'm not really going to do anything. I'm just taking you through the process. So my pen has been. You now start at this point. Begin to dump your mind. Just write any name, right? You can write your name on top of the paper. It really doesn't matter. But remember, I said it's not a group exercise. It's not an exercise. You call your husband, darling, come and see what I'm doing. No. When you're talking about decluttering your mind, when you're talking about having clarity and all of that, there's somebody you look out for first. There's somebody who is number one, and that number one is you. I said it. Like I said, it's not about being selfish. It's not about being self-centered or being self-serving. It's just simply you understanding that you need to take care of you. You need to do what's best for you before you can even be of use to another person. Yes, I see. Just a second. I see your this thing. I would refer to it. There's some people. It's actually like a multiple stream. Okay, thank you. So just find the pen and paper, like I said, and begin to dump. Begin to dump, my sister. Begin to make a list. Number one, say things that make me restless. Things that make me restless. I don't know if I should perhaps type it on the screen because it's more like a class. Excuse me. Number one, things that make me restless. Make me restless. And why I want to put it on the screen is so anybody who is going to watch this later can actually have an idea of the things to look out for and perhaps. So let me just type this here in the studio. So number one, just things that make me restless. List them out. I want to see you list them out. Things that make me restless. Please, and in doing this brain dump, I wanted to say something to us. Don't be afraid. Remember, it's only you that is going to see this. So, after you give yourself permission to write anything, things that make me restless, things that make me restless, write them out. Write them out. Begin to write it. It doesn't matter. As you write it, make sure you write everything until your mind, Yoruba will say, farabale, until your mind is cool. Write it. It doesn't matter. Everything that makes you restless, jot it. Forget it. Number two, everything that overshadows you. I hope you know restlessness and overshadow is different. Yes, I'm going to type it now. Everything that overshadows you. I didn't intend to do this before, but let me just be typing them down so somebody can see them on that. Number two, everything that overshadows you. Don't worry, it will be done soon. Overshadows you. Write it down. It might even be your husband that is overshadowing you. Can be your boss. Write it down. Everything that overshadows you. Give you a couple of moments, but I hope you know that you will take time after this and do it in this thing. I'm just making it easy for you. Do it in how do you call that in English? You do it at length later. Yes. So have you done that? So number three, or let me go back to number two, everything that overshadows you. Remember, I said number one, everything that makes you restless. Number two, everything that overshadows you. But what I want you to understand is nothing is too small or insignificant. Write it. Even if it's that rat that runs in your parlor, your living room, every day, write it down. That might come under restlessness. But usually when you write down things that overshadow you, it can be somebody in authority, anything, whatever it is. Remember, this is a personal exercise. Write it down. You are dumping. That paper you are writing on is the refuse dump. Your mind is that lorry that has been carrying refuse since and hasn't found a refuse dump. Your mind is hard drive. It's supposed to have processed. Meanwhile, all these things are inside. Inside. Imagine a hard drive just there, just collecting. When your mind is supposed to be a CPU processing information. So right now you are dumping those thoughts. Number one, I said it, things that make you restless. It doesn't matter, even if it's your near and dearest that makes you restless. Gorgeous lady, write it down. You must see your issues in black and white. You must see it written down. And at this point, you will keep on writing until your mind cools down. Remember the second one, I said things that overshadow you. I need to run because I don't want to. I still have more things to do with us tomorrow. So, like I said, it's not a group activity. If you are doing it, fine. Then I'm going to go a step further, like how they always do. In there's this church that does digging deep. That's his Bible study. So, sister, I'm going to type it. I want you to begin. Maybe when you started number 1 and 2, you just skirted around the issue. Hmm? Number 3 now, and it's just for your ears only. Begin to dig deeper. What are those things? Even you are afraid to write on the paper. Dig deeper. Bring out those thoughts. If it's that man that hurt you years ago, it's still hurting, is the thing still they paying you, write it down. Dig those thoughts out. We must get to the root of this thing. And please, do not edit. Don't edit. Just be writing it and be going. Be writing it as you are going. Don't edit it. Just write. Dig deeper. But I hope one thing I just want to quickly point out to us is you don't have to write it in detail. Don't write it in detail, my sister. You can just decide to be doing bullet points. Just make sure you write it. Because even when you bullet it, you will still go back to, like I said, dig deeper and understand the nitty-gritty, the bones and the all the bubuntibo of that issue. Write it down. You can just use bullets. You know how you do bullets now. Point 1, point 2, point 3. Anyhow, this your brain must clear. And one thing I just want to inform us of is when you're doing this thing, I'm doing now just as an example because you'll need to take time to do it maybe later on your own, just at your pace. But what you need to do, yes, you can do it at your pace, but no, I'm doing this like this is because some people, what I'm saying now might be cathartic for them. And if you're watching, you might just find yourself doing it. That's why I'm still saying hold your pen and paper. Because most people, if they defer and say, okay, I'll do it later, you may never get to do it. So today, I just urge you, as you're watching this, just say to yourself, today, my brain has to clear. My brain has to clear. So it does not matter what it is right now, keep writing it. You need to have a clear mind, whether you like it or not. I remember one day I was talking to somebody about this thing, and the person said, you're almost, how did she put it? She said, you're almost sounding hypnotic. I said, God forbid. Why should I be sounding hypnotic about something we need to do? I mean, it doesn't matter what you write down. Even if you've had a fight with a loved one, your husband, anybody, write it down. Even if it is this news, every time, that's I remember I was talking yesterday about the component of social media. If it's the news that they say, oh, this is happening in the country, even if it is this virus that is still creating a pandemic in the world, if it gives you cause for concern, write it down. If you're worried, oh, somebody I know may be sick, or write it down. See, you need to dump your mind. If there's a sick family member or friend, write it down. If you're afraid of your job or your husband's job or your chances in business, write it down. If you have an issue with any of your kids, write it down. There's people who have come into this year with a lot of baggage, especially with all these things. People talking about what do we call this thing? New Year resolution and everything. And maybe out of pressure, you now said, oh, we'll start going to the gym or something, and you can't go to the gym, or this is the time most people are fasting, and they say fast, they call for like a 30-day fast, and you're not really fasting, and you're now guilty. Write it down. Be honest. Be truthful to yourself. If you're having any problem in relationships, write it down. So you see how simple it is. And when you are done, there are different other things. Yesterday I was talking about the brain dump evaluation sheet and worksheet. And I said I might get round to, for those of you who are interested, get you to send, it has to be like a token of 200 naira because it's data, and all that. And after you've written it down, like even if you are with your husband, you can be writing his notes somewhere. You can be writing your own. But please, there's no need for it to be exchanged. I always like to tell us something. I always like to say something to us. I always like to inject the element of wisdom. If there's something that is really bugging you in your mind, and finally, because I'm encouraging you to do a brain dump, I will not expect that you share it because of whatever might happen. What you are doing is confronting your truths, writing down those things. Even if you have cheated, write it down. See what you have done. You see, when you put these things down, then you will now do something. I so promised us, if you remember yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes, when I said about something I was going to show us about this brain dumping technique. I said something about the solution numbering system. Let me just help somebody here. For instance, maybe you've written down some things that are really, really, you think, in your opinion, they are really, really terrible. You can't see yourself sharing it with somebody and all of that. Fine, you have written it down. No wahala. This is what you're going to do. There's this technique, they call it the solution. Trying to remember it now, I think the solution numbering system. I told us I was going to share it with us. So if you wrote those things, say, let me look for some strong things. I don't know if there's anybody watching. What do you think are the kind of things somebody would write in a brain dump that you otherwise cannot share with somebody? I'm just thinking, like, okay, let me say, for instance, you say, I hate my job. Let me use job. Say, I hate my job. Is one of the things you wrote. I hate my job. And after you write, I hate my job, if you are using the solution numbering system, I hate my job. I don't like where I'm living. I'm looking for money for business. Remember, I said when you started, I said just dump, 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 dump. Now, in the solution numbering system, if I hate my job, I don't like where I'm living, I don't have any money for business. Out of those three things, this is just an example. Out of those three things you've written down, there should be one that is top priority. One that is top priority. Remember, it's three things I said. I said, what was it I said again? I said, I hate my job. I do not like where I live. I don't have money for business. So that's 1, 2, 3, right? Then I now realize that the one that is very important to me is I do not have money for business. I'll now take my number 3 to the top. Just listen. The second one is I hate my job. Then the third one is I don't like where I'm living. So now, the things that are bothering me in my mind, I wrote them down. But I'm now numbering them. Remember, I wrote them in a hurry. Now, I don't have money for business becomes my number one issue that I'm carrying on my head. The second one now becomes I hate my job, yes. Then the third one now becomes I don't like what I'm living. I don't like where I'm living. Then you don't just stop there, because it's called the solution numbering system. My sister, when you brain dump, you begin to think. So, number one, I don't have money for my business. Why don't I have money for my business? Have I sought a way to get money for my business? Have I considered where I can get money for my business? Is there a reason people are not giving me money for my business? Because I've asked, see, by the time you use pen and paper, that's one thing that was disturbing you. Or one of your issues is, my business is not making money. Write it instead of worrying every time. Hey, my business is not making money. My business is not making money. My business is not making money. I did it during the pandemic. Oh. At the end of the pandemic, I shut my store. Nobody told me to shut my store. It's because I had sat down and I had decided to number my issues. I don't call them problems, I call them challenges. Because you know why? When you are dumping, you will look for solutions. My business is not making money. I say, in elaboration, in elaborating, what have I been using the money that I've been getting from the business from? How have I been marketing? Who are the key points people for my business? Have I been doing as much networking as I expect for my business? I am telling you, by the time you finish, you will now begin to understand that there is a process to your issue. Any man I go out with always breaks my heart. You write it down, right? Feel free to write it down. You now say, what is it about me? And this solution numbering system comes under the dig deeper part of the brain dump. That's why I brought it up. Then when you elaborate on the reasons why you think you keep on having these thoughts, one of your thoughts is, what bothers me, what fills my mind is the fear of dying. You begin to why am I really afraid of dying? Is it that somebody has been this? Before you know it, then you now begin to take steps. That is why at the end of numbering and elaborating, you have to now collect, or you can draw a line in the center. This is like school. I told you it's not a preaching session. You begin to outline action steps. What do I need to do? 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 I remember how I've always said, I'm too fat. I'm too this. I'm too that. I had to brain dump on my weight issue a couple of weeks ago. I had to brain dump. I wrote down the things that I know that are making me fat. Not when you say, oh, that's how we are. I am big bone. This for our family. It's not true. You keep on living in denial. And living in denial is one of the things that clutters up your mind. So you're going to make up your mind that after you've written all these things that have been bothering your mind, I'm sure somebody who has even bothered to do it, by the time you've watched this, anytime you watch this, by the time you do this thing, you start feeling lighter. You start feeling lighter. Because remember, one of the things we talked about in how to declutter your mind is letting go. And by the time you write down this, you do this brain dump, writing them down. Trust me, your challenges are not going to end immediately. But you know what's going to happen? You are seeing them. And you say, okay, I'm owing somebody 500,000. Instead of thinking every time, oh, hey, 500,000. 500,000. You see, one thing I tell people, I remember for the past couple of days, I've always talked about this wonderful lady, Apostoline Gorgan, who taught me some years ago and said, when I said taught me, it wasn't any formal setting. I remember there was a time in my life, 2006 to be specific, where I just used to go to sit down before her and she would talk and she would talk and she would talk. And one of those days I said it. In fact, I think I've been giving that example every day. Where she said to me, that this thing they say you cannot learn left hand in old age, it's a lie, it's a fallacy. That there's this philosopher, John Locke, that said anybody can learn anything at any point in time so long as they learn it in steps. So you begin in steps. When you begin to brain dump, I'm not going to come here and motivate you and say your issues will disappear immediately and whatever. But remember that what we're talking about is not as if your issues disappearing. We're talking about decluttering your mind. The issues are there. Do you now want your mind to lose your mind because you have issues? I don't think that's the desire of anybody. You don't want to lose your mind because you have issues. What we're saying here is we're giving you tools. I'm trying to give you tools that will help you offload those problems, that you're able to look at them and hopefully, yes, you know, like maybe you're owing somebody this sum of money, and the person is saying that you are doing your best in order to recoup, or something. The person will feel the person is going to feel encouraged, you know, and so that even relaxes whatever pressure you had. So I really do hope that when you're able to do or carry out these exercises of brain dumping, one of the things you'll be able to achieve is, like I said, it will reduce your stress. It will create mindfulness in you. You are more alert to what your issues are. And the funny thing about brain dumping is it's not only a technique for decluttering your mind in terms of, you know, clarity and your mental health and making sure your mental space is, honky dory. It's actually a technique that you can use for other things. I showed you yesterday on my Samsung notes how I take down how I write um type notes of things that might, another person may see as inconsequential, but for me, I'm always typing. You even saw where I listed that I had to have amala that day, so it also helps you. It's effectively a to-do list. you know if you're out there and you don't have a cluttered mind, your mind is fine, you're just taking life easy and all that, you can still use a brain dump for other things. You're planning a holiday, you can do a brain dump of everything you think you need to do on that holiday. I remember when my kids were younger, if anybody who was a primary caregiver to my kids is watching this today, anytime, because I used to travel a lot for work, my first three, because I had them in quick succession. I used to travel a lot for work. So I used to essentially make sure there was a list. I would post even the times for taking their medicine, everything. So anybody I was leaving them with knew that I had dumped and created this extensive list that had to be dealt with. So even if you're not going through issues, you're not going through, depression, you're not experiencing sleepless nights, as I said, was one of the reasons why you brain dump, you can actually come up with your own system, your own technique of just dumping everything you need to do on a list, all your plans on a list, everything, ways and means on which you would achieve them on a list. So, thank you very much. Today was another day. I hope when you take time to go through this, you will have a better understanding of how to effectively use the brain dumping technique to declutter your mind. So, tomorrow, hopefully, day 5 will be examining the 4 Ds of productivity. That's actually a management principle, but we'll be examining it tomorrow in hopes that we can use it. If in fact it's something it's you can actually use it, but hopefully I hope somebody will get a grasp of how to effectively use it to um declutter your mind. And we've spent a lot of time on just immediate declutter, but it's 31 days. There's still other things we would have to bear in mind. And I hope you know that there will be times when, even if you're not watching live, when you're watching it over again, there will be times that you'd have to do a little bit of introspection with the hope that you get more clarity, because we're still going to move on to deconstruction, which is another thing by itself. So I hope, and like I understand that in this season there's a lot of spiritual exercises going on, praying, fasting, is trusting God for how we want to strategize for our year. So whilst you're doing that, do also to try to educate your mind. It's very, very important on ways and means that you can now apply your spiritual teachings, the things you hear. You can apply them to daily living to live your best life. So thank you once again for day 4. God bless you. My name remains Ohunene Scott Ananaba. See you tomorrow.